In The Life of Pi, written by Jan Martel, the protagonist Pi is stranded on a lifeboat with 4 animals, all of which symbolize something else. Not only were these animals symbols, but anything else you could imagine in the novel is a possible symbol. The book begins with Pi Patel and his family in India in their zoo. They sell their animals and decide to make the overseas voyage to move to Canada. While on the ship, a storm hits and sinks the ship, killing perhaps every passenger except for Pi, considering Pi was guided to a lifeboat by some crew members before the ship went down. The lifeboat contained 2 animals, a hyena and an injured zebra, and later to join the boat was a tiger, Richard Parker, and an orangutan. On the surface, half of these animals are just threats to Pi's survival, but once looked upon closely represent a multitude of ideas and people, all of which can be completely personalized to the reader. One quote by Foster says, "Seriously, what do you think it stands for? Because that's probably what it does, at least for you." To many people, including the 2 men who visit Pi at the end of the book, believe the orangutan represents Pi's mother, while others believe she represents innocence, and others believe she represents all of the above. This idea is well put together in another quote by Foster stating, "Some symbols do have a relatively limited range of meanings, but in general, the symbol can't be reduced to standing for only one thing." Animal Farm is an excellent example of literature that relates to symbolism found in Life of Pi. Both novels contain animals that represent an idea much greater than the animals they physically embody. Each animal represents a different class from the communist era, and the pigs especially, each personally represented an important political figure from the Communist Party. The only difference between the animals in the 2 novels, however, is the fact that the animals from Animal Farm are allegories rather than symbols, considering each pig bears uncanny resemblances to their human counterparts that removes any room for doubt or debate about who or what the animals symbolize. The animals in Life of Pi, however, were very animalistic. Their personified traits required explanation or analysis in most cases. An example of the animalistic traits being more prominent can be observed in this quote, "The animal in front of you must know where it stands, whether above you or below you. Until it knows its rank for certain, the animal lives a life of unbearable anarchy." Typically, when more thought is required to realize the symbols and what they represent, then it is not an allegory. After reading Life of Pi, it can be safe to argue that there are possibly no allegories throughout the entire novel. Christ can also be linked to symbolism in everything he does and stands for. The cross he is nailed to is more than just the place he died. It also represents where he died for everyone's sins. The cross can now represent religion as a whole, Christianity, Catholicism, holiness, innocence, sacrifice, and more. When people see a cross of any kind, it can be argued that one of the first thoughts that crosses their mind is Jesus Christ. The cross is an extremely strong and well-known symbol throughout the Western world, and is commonly used to describe ideas and Christ himself. All of the symbols described are completely up for debate. That's what symbols are. Ideas and beings that stand for possibly unlimited other ideas and beings, while allegories stand for only one idea or character. Life of Pi is stuffed with symbols, and it's up to us to determine each symbol.